latest in tech and accessibility. This is Access Tech Live with Stephen Scott and Marc Aflalo.
Welcome back, everyone, and welcome along to the next segment of Access Tech Live, here live with you today. Of course, get in touch and answer that question of the day that we've been putting out there. We'll get to your answers a bit later. Marc Aflalo is with me. Also joining us today, special guest joining us, of course, the writer, the creator of the wonderful program Fashion Dis on AMI TV, also, as we mentioned earlier, on AMI Plus as well. She's also the writer and creator of a successful and award-winning blog called Tripping on Air. That is also a podcast and YouTube channel that you can go and subscribe to right now. So we're going to be talking to Ardra in just a few moments. Ardra Shephard is going to be joining us in just a few moments. We're just getting her set up to come on air.
This is what's fun about being live, Stephen. You know, you gotta go with it. You know, I work with Ardra on that Tripping on Air podcast. We produce that once a month, and the first episode of the second season is coming out, and I think about a week's time. A very, very cool episode. But you know what I'm looking forward to is she does an incredible gift guide with a lot of giveaways towards the holiday season. So it's something we're going to have her back on. Obviously, today she's going to be joining us to talk about this cool event that she's actually attending now that's happening in Toronto. But that gift guide definitely coming up down the road. But I had the pleasure of meeting her thanks to that podcast, which is pretty cool.
And, you know, there was an occasion where one of the shows was being produced, and I think you were busy for once in your life, you're busy because, of course, you're never busy, right? So, you know, I stepped in and I took in that production role, and I was just sitting in awe, listening to Ardra and the team discuss the subjects they discuss. And, you know, it's one of those things that you might not think that a show about MS, about multiple sclerosis, would be something you might want to listen to. You might almost feel it's a little bit voyeuristic. You might feel it's something that it's something that you might not feel comfortable listening to. You're intruding in someone else's conversation. It's absolutely not that. It's a wonderful conversation, and it's a wonderful
really
conversation
cool about people like Ardra, Stephen, who take their own experiences and empower other people by telling their story. Ardra joins us now live from an event. The event's called hashtag So This Is MS. It's happening in Toronto. Ardra, number one, thanks for joining us here on the show. Can you tell us about the event? Like, what led to it, and what are people going to get out of this event when they're actually attending, or probably next year anyway, because it's happening right now?
Very happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. The event is called hashtag So This Is MS. It is brought to us in the fine city of Toronto, but also all over the interwebs by EMD Toronto. So if you're not in Toronto today, you can still participate in the event by following the hashtag So This Is MS, but also by sharing your own stories of what it's really like to have MS. It's kind of a day to clear up some misconceptions and set the record straight. Here in person, we've got speakers, workshops, snacks. It's a lot of fun. It's a room full of people with shared experience and wisdom and humor, and I'm just having the best time.
Hey, Ardra, Stephen back in the studio. It sounds like it's a great event. My ears were pricked when you said snacks. That often gets me interested. But, you know, this sounds like a great event. And you mentioned, of course, this is the name of the event is hashtag So This Is MS. Social media is such an important tool, isn't it? And it's such an important tool for sharing those stories and connecting people.
Absolutely. Social media gets a bad rap. But I think when it comes to finding your people, especially when you've had kind of a marginalized experiences, something that's outside of the periphery, social media has the power to really connect us and be transformative. And it's the best thing about social media.
Ardra, now, you know, when you and I talked about coming on the show, you said, I'm not that techie, but I love turning that on people sometimes, because even though they say that, they don't realize that obviously technology has impacted their lives in some way, shape, or form. On social media, if it wasn't for social media and your blog and everything that you do, technology obviously plays a major role there. So I'm curious how those tools have assisted you on your journey personally.
Without technology, I would be screaming into the void, or just with a megaphone on a street corner, I guess. I have been diagnosed with MS long enough that I remember what it was like to have MS before social media. So it's not just about being able to connect with others that have MS and any kind of chronic illness or disability, whatever. Finding and forming these communities on social media has really, I think, contributed to revolutionizing healthcare because it's broadened the conversation. Patients are more involved with healthcare and with doctors and with pharmaceuticals. It's much more collaborative, and we're really seeing a switch to include patients as partners in their own care. And that's, I think, really exciting.
But of course, technology itself can help there as well in that very area of healthcare. And we were just talking about a story at the top of the show in the headlines about how virtual reality is being used to help treat multiple sclerosis in some cases, helping, for example, with balance and things like that. Have you ever heard about these kind of treatments, or do you just roll your eyes when you hear about, oh, here's another treatment that involves technology?
No.
Or are you pro all this? Are you very much for this?
I am so for this because physiotherapy is so boring. And I like, if there are fun ways to engage and improve, I'm really excited about what's happening in neuroplasticity and VR. It's not something I've used yet. I have used other technologies to help improve stuff, but the idea that I could turn like improving my balance into a game, I'm so here for it. Tell me more.
Ardra, what are you hoping people get out of the event that you're at now? And more importantly, how can people follow you and the event if they want to learn more?
People can follow the blog, Tripping on Air, also the podcast, Tripping on Air, wherever you get your pods. I'm on Instagram, ms_Tripping on Air. But I would really, especially today, encourage everyone to search for the hashtag So This Is MS and post your own stories and share stories of others within the community. I think that's what really this is all about. It can be really lonely when you feel like you're the only one, and then finding somebody that has experienced the same thing that you have that feeling of like, oh my God, me too. I thought I was the only one. It's so powerful, and it makes us stronger. It's such a great feeling. And MS is hard, but days like this, these are the kind of events that like champion us and encourage us to keep going when things get hard.
Yeah, and it helps people get out of their shell, right? It gives people an opportunity to, as you said, building community is important because not only for obviously the connections you make, but just getting out there and giving you a reason to get out of the house and realize there's other people that are, like you out there. I got to ask you a question of the day while you're here because it's a controversial one.
Day. Go ahead.
Okay, it's a really controversial one. With Google having just made some announcements about the Pixel 8, are you an iPhone girl? Are you an Android girl? What's the deal there? And why, more importantly, that choice?
I feel like I'm going to let you down here, Mark, but I regularly miss my 2007 Razor. I'm not a phone fanatic one way or the other. I have an iPhone because I'm lazy and it's like the path of least resistance. But I will tell you, whoever comes out with the rollator, a cool rollator emoji first, that's the brand I'm going to be loyal to for the rest of my life.
Ardra, thank you so much for taking the time to join us again. Hashtag So This Is MS. Get back to the show. We know you got a lot of things to talk about, and we hope you join us again, hopefully for that gift guide episode.
Absolutely. Yes. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
When we come back, Stephen, Android 14 is around the corner. We finally found a date for it. It's going to be next week. We're going to pick that apart, and we want to dive into some of those Google announcements because there's some stuff they didn't even talk about that I think are important to get to. And don't forget, of course, the question of the day that Ardra just answered. Hopefully it's not a Razor or a BlackBerry. It's an iPhone or an Android. You let us know. This is Access Tech Live. We'll talk to you in a minute.
We want to hear from you. Follow us on social media and get involved at Access Tech Live. We'll be right back.